Okay, so okay, so we have seen how to convert a SIF into a PCR. Okay, so this PCR would be used mainly uh, for your for doing your ritual refinement or profile matching. Okay, so SIF file is more useful when you are doing ritual refinement more rather than the profile matching. So for profile matching, you don't need everything. You need only the ABC parameter and also your space group. So which you can already get it from your Quellex. Okay, so your Quellex is already good enough. It is already providing you the starting value for ABC and also your space group. Okay, so now what we'll do is we will develop a PCR ourselves from the scratch, because let us assume we don't have any SIF file. So in that case, how to do it? Okay, so what you do is you again I will just again open it. So I can open the EDPCR either from Fullproof or from the your wind plotter. Okay, so wind plotter also you can click here and you can get it, or you can get it from your Fullproof. Okay, so let us start here. So once you open the PCR, you will get something like this. So you can see here everything is not active. Okay, or this is not highlighted. So that means I will just have to click this
Hello, sir.
new button. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. Sorry for interrupting you. Now the participants are around 199.
Okay, okay. So should we wait?
Yes, yes, sir. Just 2 minutes or
Okay,
one minute.
okay, okay. Okay.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you. Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, there is a question in the previous section. Can I read it?
Yes, yes, yes. You can read, ma'am.
Sir, there is a question from Ammu Vijay. Sir, could you please tell me to find out the atomic coordinates of a sample which has no SIF file available in COD?
SIF file. Okay, SIF file you can try this project material project, or if it is completely new, so new sample, like as I told, if it is a completely new structure, then you have to do direct space mapping. which is not not this method. It is a different method. Okay, so that I will try to give a video tutorial. So because everyone may not be interested in that, because it's a little bit more complicated compared to this traditional way of doing it. Okay, so I will try to give that tutorial.
Okay, sir. Sir, there is two people asked about how to convert that file to PCR file. They asking to explain this one more.
Yes, we are not started. I'm going to start that now. So we'll start developing our own PCR file. So that is first thing we are going to do now.
Okay, sir.
So can we start, madam? I think we can start.
Sir, now the participants list are around 212. So, sir, one more instruction to the participants. Participants, please listen. There is a feedback form in the chat box. Please try to fill it before 1 p.m. today. Sir, now the participants list are around 215. So
Okay,
I think we can start now.
Okay. So someone wanted to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So someone wanted to see how to do. So okay. So if you want to convert your SIF to PCR, you just open your EDPCR. Okay. You click on EDPCR and then you click here. There is some some button called SIF to PCR. Okay. So load the SIF file. You click this, then you take the SIF file which is available with you. Okay. So I think it was somewhere here, right? Okay. So I can take next PCR. Okay. So I will take next PCR. Okay. So I will take the gypsum PCR. Okay. So I will just open this gypsum PCR and it will say what kind of radiation it was. So it was X-ray radiation or neutron radiation. So for me, it was X-ray radiation. So I will say okay. And then if I just click this save button, then it will already create a PCR here. Okay. So this is very straightforward. So you can see here is already opened here. Okay. So this is how we did. It's a one-click way, but sometimes you may not get PCR for everything. So what we do is we'll develop our own PCR. Okay, and also that will know that will also give you more information. What are things you are going to fit in the profile. Okay, so you click on this EDPCR. Okay, either from your foolproof suite or from your WinPlotter. So if I click here EDPCR, then it opens a new one. Okay, so right now you can see there is nothing is activated, right? So this is because your no PCR is open. So I want to create a new PCR. So how to do that? I'll just click on this new file. Okay, so if I click this, you can see this get all of them get activated. So first thing is you go with one step each time. Okay, from top you go one by one. So I will click on general. So here, if you want to give some information, you can give. Okay, title. So I know I am doing a CO2, so I'll just put CO2, or you can put profile match CO2, or you can just put your name. It doesn't matter. Okay. So this is just a title for your PCR. Okay. Then I will just say okay. Then what I do is I'll just let me just open. I'll just keep it next to each other. Okay. So I think this is fine. Okay. So general is done. So then I'll go to pattern. Okay, patterns means this is where you can input your data file. Okay, so by default there is no pattern, so you can see 0 of 0 patterns. So first thing what to do is just click add. Once I click add, then these things will be activated. Right now these are not activated. So first thing what you do, you click add. So now you see all the things are activated. So you again go one by one. Okay, so always do the same thing from top to bottom. So I started from here, first is finished. Now in the second one, So when I come into the second one, I have so many things to fill. Okay, I will fill it. Okay, so what I will do, I will just go to data file, and here you can see it is giving what kind of file it is. Okay, so is it XY file or is it free format? Okay, so if I open my cerium oxide in a notepad, okay, so what you can see is here it is having these are the intensities which are in the bottom. Here it is your first initial angle and final angle along with the step. So I have to take the this one. I should not click here. Okay, I should first check what is my uh, my data. Okay, if you are having x comma y format, so this is the reason I asked you to convert to xy format, because xy format is the easier one. It will get less error. Okay, in some of the other things you get a lot of error when you are running the problem your program. Okay, so I will click this free format, then I have to browse the file. Okay, so browse this data file. So browse, and so this is in desktop. Wherever you have saved, you can take it. Okay, so as assignment one, then I have this CO2. Okay, I'll just click this. Okay, so now it has loaded. Okay, so it has loaded the CO2 data file. Next, there is a one more tab. So you have to see all the tabs. Don't leave anything. So I'll here I have done the selection of data file. I'll go to next tab. So next tab, it is saying, okay, pattern calculated X-ray. So this is for calculated patterns, but we are doing lab XRD. So I can connect, I have to select this lab XRD. Again, you can see here what kind of radiation. Okay, if you are using silver, molybdenum, you can click here. Okay, if you click here, by default by itself it will take. Okay, if I am using nickel or what kind of radiation. Okay, so you can also have user defined. You can write your own values. Okay, this is when you are doing your synchrotron data. Okay, even for synchrotron data, you are going to use the same X-ray, but instead of taking your copper or iron or cobalt, you have to take it as user defined, and they will give you the wavelength. You have to just fill in that wavelength here. Okay, so as I know this data is collected on copper, I am going to collect the copper, and then this is the X-ray diffraction. Sometimes if you want to do neutron diffraction, then you can click in the neutron. So again, in the neutron, there is something called time of flight, TOF. So then in that case, you can click here. But for most of you, don't worry about other things. It is just X-ray, and then you take the copper. Okay, if you're using cobalt, you select the cobalt. Then you go to the next tab. Okay, so in next tab, what happens if I click? It gives here peak shape. Okay, so this is where this is why I explained you the peak shapes. Okay, so if I come back to this peak shape, you know, these are the things I explained. Okay, so now if I go back, you can see here what are the different shapes. You have Gaussian, you have the Lorentzian. Okay, you have the modified Lorentzian, you have Pearson 6, you have pseudo-void, you have pseudo-void axial. So you can see there's all the things. So we will start with pseudo-void. Okay, so let us start with pseudo-void, which is nothing but it's a mixture of your Gaussian and Lorentzian. Okay, or you can also start with void. Okay, or best thing for everything, you can use Thomson Cox. Okay, so you can choose one of them. It depends on again on the shape of your peaks. Okay, in your data. So I always go for Thomson Cox, but let us try pseudo-void. Okay, pseudo-void. Then it is asking your y-axis, sorry, x-axis is in 2 theta. This you can just leave everything. Okay, you don't have to touch anything. You just take the proper shape. Okay, so you can either take Pearson or pseudo-void or Thomson Cox. Okay, so if you then what I say okay, that is done. So I finished with data. Next is I should go to data type. Okay, so data type, you click, and sorry, background type you click, and you can see there are so many different background fitting. Okay, so normally if you are a beginner, I would always propose go to a linear this one fitting. The reason is, for these things you need to be very careful with how you give the polynomial, whether it is a 6 coefficient polynomial or 12 coefficient polynomial. There are so many things you need to take care, but let us not do that. I click here linear interpolation data. Okay, then what happens, I can give the data files that we selected before. Okay, so that is why I'm going to take linear interpolation between a set background points. Okay, I'm clicking this, then you say okay. So there is something called as excluded region. Okay, so for this what I will try to do is, I'll open my data here. Okay, I will try to open the data and I'll keep it next to this. Okay, I will this is a free format. Okay, it's good. Then I'm going to CO2, I am opening. So now you can see I don't have data from 0, right? I have data starting from something like 25, around 25. Okay, and it is going up to, what is the last thing, it's going up to 142, right? So, or one, let us stop at 140. Okay, I want to do fitting only in this range. So now what I can do, I can exclude the other range. By default, your full prof will do fitting from 0 to 180. Okay, so as we don't have any data between 0 to 25, I'll put that is my first excluded region. 0 to 25 is the first excluded region because I don't have data in that range. Then what is the next excluded region? Next excluded region is, I want to stop at 140, or if I want to stop at 90 or 80, then what I do, I put the value here. So I want to stop at 140, I'll put here 140, then the last is 180. So that means I don't have data from 0 to 25, I don't have data from 140 to 180. Or if you are having only data up to 80, 2 theta, then what you can do, you can just put here 80 and then 180. Okay, so you don't have to give this all the time, but it's better to practice. Okay, so you can say okay, don't touch the last two things, you just leave it like that. Okay, so geometry and all is there, but right now we don't worry, because we are having Bragg-Brentano or Debye-Scherrer geometry. So most of the lab X-ray diffractometers, they are having this Bragg-Brentano geometry. If it is very old, then it is Debye-Scherrer. When do you use this? This is when you have some different geometry. Like for example, in case of your neutron, you are not having theta to theta movement. You have different movement. Or even in case of scattering, it's the same thing. Okay. So in that case, you have to use according to whatever they say. So we don't worry too much. Okay, so there is some other things here, but let us don't worry, we just keep it as Bragg-Brentano. So better don't touch the last two. Okay, last two you have to exclude. You take the database data file. Okay, here you have to just select the data file here. I don't know why it okay. I took the data file. Then I did for copper X-rays, then it is pseudo void. Okay, then I went to background, linear, then I put two excluded regions. Okay, so there are two excluded regions, 0 to 25 and 140 to 180. That means I don't have data in this range. Okay, then I say okay. So best always you should save it. Okay, always you save the whatever you have given the input. So if you click here save, then it will ask you to give the data file. So you go to the same folder, don't save some other place. I'll go to the same folder, I'll put CE O2. Okay, and then if you want, we can do .pcr, or you can just leave it. Okay, so if you leave it also, it will just put PCR. So where is our, okay, so you can see here cerium oxide, there is background, there is data file. So now what I will do, once I click this save, you will see there is one more file which will be appearing here. Okay, so I will just keep it in name. Okay, so in name CO2 there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including 2 data files, 2 background, and 1 zip file. So now if I say save, then you will see there is a PCR file which is coming here at 12:28. It started. It has saved here. Okay, so that is your PCR file. It has created, but this is a incomplete PCR because we did only data file and then something. So next, what you do? I finished pattern. You go to phase. If I go to phase, then again it is not active. So click on add. Once you click add, you can see there is a name. So I'll put okay, this is a cerium or CO2 phase. The name is CO2 phase, because if you have 2-3 phases, then you have to add more phase. Okay, that is why you can give a name for phase. So I'm putting this my phase is CO2. Okay, then what I do, I have to check what kind of calculation I'm doing. By default it is giving ritual refinement, which is your structural model, but I don't want to do structural model right now. I want to do profile matching. So you just click here this drop down, then you can see there is magnetic phase. No, this is not a neutron, so I don't want to do this. You just select the profile match with constant scale factor. Okay, so previously it was structural model. Instead of that, what you do is you go to profile match with constant scale factor. The first profile match, whatever comes first, that is the profile match. Okay, then you have 2 more tabs here. You click the tabs. So first I'm going to click this contribution to pattern. So here you can see contribution to pattern, nothing is active here. Okay, so I have to click here again this check button. So if I click this check button, then it says what is, whether it is a XRD or it is a neutron, what kind of it is. Okay, so as I told, as we did already in the previous case, this is a XRD, so I put X-ray diffraction. Again, peak shape. So in previous case we have taken pseudo wide, so I will again take the pseudo wide. If you are taking Gaussian in the previous case, you should have the same peak shape is Gaussian. If you are using Thomson Cox or something like that, then it should be Thomson Cox. Okay, so whatever peak shape you are taking in the previous one, you take the same thing here. Okay, so if I say okay, then it will go off. Okay, so now you have given the contribution. Next, you have to give the symmetry. So in symmetry, for this, you should take the symmetry of your crystal. If I go back to QuellX, the space group is Fm minus 3m, right? So I have to write in the same way, F space m, then space minus 3 space m, or just write 225. Okay, in this place, you can write to 225, and then you just click on symmetry operation. Okay, or you can write capital F. You should be very careful. If I just write Fm minus 3m, it will not work. Okay, so if I have to should write F space m space minus 3 minus then again space m. Okay, so this is this you should take care. If it is not, if you are not very well what is it, confident, just put you just put the number here. Okay, 225 is the space group number. You can just directly put 225. Okay, so I will just put Fm minus 3m, then I will say okay. So I have selected the calculation, I have selected the contribution, symmetry. Now I just settle okay. Okay, so if I again, I will just save it. Every time you just save it. This is like you're writing a word pad, so or you're writing a word document. It's better always save in between. Okay, so I have completed the general pattern phase. What is the next thing? Next thing is refinement. So just go to refinement. Again, same thing here. So you can go one by one. So what is this saying here? It is telling the cycles of refinement. Cycle means how many iterations you want to do, or how many times you want to repeat this. Normally to start with, I just start with 10. Okay, so 10 number of iterations or 10 number of cycles. Okay, then that is good. Then you don't touch anything here. You come here, so it is asking what kind of refinement you are doing. I am doing least square refinement. So your refinement is by least square. Okay, you just keep it least square. Don't touch. Then you can check here. There are three things: background, instrument, and micro absorption. Okay, so you first go to background. I will click on background. If I click on background, there's one more. Uh, you are getting a one more window. So here it is saying linear interpolation or cubic spline. Okay, so keep it in linear interpolation, and you can click the import from background file. Okay, so or you can just give some values. So if I want to give the values, what I will do is I will see this what is the background here. Okay, so this line is not at exactly 0. Instead, you can see y is 14.28, right? I can just put 14.28 for all the things. Okay, so I can put all. Sorry, I can put 14.28 for all the things, but as we have already selected the background and we have saved the background, so which is already here, right? So background CO to background. So I can just import that. So I will import that data, and if you see here, I'll just open this background data. It has 24 points, right? So if what I will do is I'm going to import that data. So right now it is telling 10 and everything is 0, right? So what I will do, I'll just select this and you open it. Now you can see it has taken 24 points. Whatever points is there, by automatically it has taken all the things. Then it is given the corresponding count with 2 theta. So you say okay, background, import background, you select your background, then you say okay. So now you can go to the instrument. So in instrument there is something called as displacement, transparency, wavelength. So these are the coefficients that you can also do the refinement. Okay, so right now let me not touch this. Don't touch the micro absorption. Okay, so if you want in instrument, you can do this 0 refinement. If I click this if I check this button, that means this is going to change during my program. When the program is running, this is changing. If I unclick this, that means it is not changing. It is going to remain 0. Okay, so that is the meaning of this select and unselect. So I'm selecting only 0. Okay, so I'm selecting 0. Then I'm going to say it is fine. So I don't want to touch micro absorption right now. Okay, so now next, what is the thing? So you go to the profile. Okay, so there are so many things, but we will not touch everything. We are going to touch only number of cycles. We are going to change the background. We are going to change the instrument. Next, we are going to change the profile. Okay, so if I click the profile here, what it says is it is giving something called scale. It is giving ABC, alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, then it is also giving some UVW and then all those things. So here you have to just input your ABC values because we are doing only profile matching. So what I will do is I will go to this Qualex and then I will open my this file. Okay, so I'll just keep next to each other. Okay, so I can see here A, they have given only A. That means it is cubic. So A is equal to B is equal to C. I can just put it here. How much? 5.41. Okay, same thing, you go to the next one and then select it and then you take 5.411. Same thing for other. You can just leave it like that. By default it will take, but just for practice is better. Okay, you write like this. Then what about alpha, beta, gamma? As it is cubic, alpha, beta, gamma should be equal to 90. So this is 90, cubic is this beta is 90, gamma is 90. Okay, so you have to put all these things. You write what is A, B, C, and alpha, beta, gamma. Don't touch anything here. You just tell okay, and then again you tell okay. So now save it. So once you come back from each thing, you have to save it. Okay, so don't touch the last 3. Don't worry about last 3. We are taking into care only the first 4. Okay, so I went to general, I put a name CO2. Then I went to pattern, I clicked new pattern, add a pattern, then this got activated. So I selected data file here, which is my co2.dat, which is in free format. Okay, 2 theta step and 2 theta. Then I know this is a X-ray diffraction data, so I am using X-ray diffraction. I have used copper radiation to collect the data, and here I am using pseudo void. Okay, so or what we'll do, we'll change it to Pearson. Let us do what you can change and you can play with this. Okay, it is there is no restriction that you have to use only this. Okay, so I am using Pearson. Okay, background type I'm keeping linear. Once I keep linear, I get option to import my data. Okay, the background data. So then excluded region, I'm removing the two regions. I don't, because I don't have two data in that region. Okay, then I say okay. So pattern is finished. Save it. Go to face. You click add. Then by default this will be structural model, but you should change right now to profile. Okay. So then you go to the contribution. So you have to check here. Normally it is unchecked. So check it. Then you take XRD, and as I change to Pearson, I'll again change here to Pearson. Okay, so that is your contribution. Then symmetry, you have to give the information about your space group. Then I come out, I save it. Then again I go to refinement. I change the number of cycles. You can even give 25, 50, 100. Okay, so this you can do later. Okay, I'm just not spending too much time. Then background, I just imported the background that I have selected. Okay, I take this or take the next one. So then I went to instrument. I can select 0. Okay, and then I didn't touch anything else. I went directly to profile. I have input the ABC parameter that I get in my Colex. Okay, so ABC is 5.41, 5.41, then alpha, beta, gamma. So right now you just don't uncheck this. I'm just going to uncheck, and then I'm going to save it. So now if you open this PCR file, okay, so how to open this PCR file? You can actually open this in a notepad. Okay, so I will where is this? So this is the PCR file. So I'm going to open this in notepad++. Okay, so now you can see this is what you see in your PCR. Okay, so you should also know this. The reason is you can either work in GUI mode or you can work in using a notepad. Okay, so you can see here NPR. NPR is the Pearson. So as I took Pearson, it is showing 6. Okay, so I go here. I will change it to something else. Okay, so if I change peak shape pattern to something like Thomson Cox. Okay, so I will just do okay. I will tell okay, and once I click save, you keep looking at this. Okay, so what will happen? I will say save, and if I go here, it will say okay, you want to upload. Yes, I want to update. So it change to 7, right? So this gives the information about what kind of profile you are using for fitting. Okay, so again then you have something called as, this is a number of background points. You have 24 background points which you got it from the when you imported the data, right? So this is number of phase. Okay, so all this information I will give it as a separate file. Okay, NPH is number of phase is 1. Okay, so there is something you need to change, that is nothing but AUT. AUT, you just make it as 1. Okay, so always make it as 1. That means it is automatic mode. Automatic mode, because if you have done some small mistake, your program is going to take it by default. Okay, it will correct by itself. So that is why it is called as AUT is 1. Okay, so this is the only thing that you need to change. Then if you scroll down, there is something called lambda 1, lambda 2. This is your wavelength. This is what you give it in the data file. Okay, so if I change it to molybdenum, then this will go into 0.77, something like that. Okay, then number of cycles, right? So if I go in the refinement and if I change this to 25 cycles, Okay, then I say yes, I want to save it. Let me see. Okay, 25. Okay, save it. And if I come here, it will say to update. Yes. So you see it is taken. Number of cycles is 25. So everything is linked. Okay, then you have these are the points which are for background. Whatever background you have selected, that is what is coming here. Okay, 24 background points. Then you can see excluded region. So I told I to exclude 0 to 25 and 14 140 to 180. So it has put that here. Okay, so everything is linked with these two programs. Okay, either you can work in notepad mode or you can work in GUI mode. Okay, whatever is easy for you, you can work. There is no restriction that you have to work only in this or only in that. Okay, so then what else? Yes, so then this is the name for phase CO2. Then JVT2 means it is in we are trying to do the profile matching. Okay, so if you go here phase, we are doing profile matching. Instead of that, if I take structural model or structural model, then what happens? If I say okay, if I save this, then this will change to 0. Okay, so I will update it. So now you can see it is changing to 0. 0 means it is structural model. But if I want to do it as profile matching, then I'm going to do profile matching. Okay, save it. So if I change it here again, it is going back to 2. Okay, so JBD2 means it is profile matching. So above, I told the phase, the profile type was 7. 7 means it is your Thomson Cox. The same thing is here. Okay, NPR. So this is going to be, I'm going to change it to 7. Okay, because it should be same. Or if I want to keep 6, then I'm going to go up and I'm going to change this to 6. Okay, so this you can save here. The same thing will be updated here. So they both are linked to each other. Okay, so you don't have to do in both, you can do only one. So I'm just showing you just for your sake. Okay, and you can see ABC I have given 5.441. So they all those things are coming in this form. Okay, ABC, alpha, beta, gamma, whatever you feed there, it will be just coming here. Okay, so right now this is fine to do the refinement. So first thing is I want to do zero refinement. If I want to zero refinement, then what I have to do? I go to refinement, install instrument. I click this 0. Then I will say, okay, I think I have to do it again. Instrument, click on 0. Okay, then save it. So maybe it is writing. So now you can see it is putting 1 code. Once I click checking, if I check the 0, then it is putting 1 1 means this is the code for this is like checked. I have checked the 0. This has to change. Okay, so now we will run it. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just click here, run foolproof program. Then what happens? It will start running. Okay, it will just start fitting. Okay, so I think there is some error. Okay, I think contribution, it says there is something error. So let me go to Thomson Cox. Okay, let us keep Thomson Cox as the standard. Then I need to check where it is. Contribution, Thomson Cox. Okay, okay. So I will do the same thing in this. Okay, so peak shape pattern will be Thomson Cox. Okay, you can later you can try different things, but let me. This works very well for all things. Okay, Thomson Cox is working all. So I'm keeping Thomson Cox. So if you go here, it will change to 7. Okay, right now it was 6. Now it will become 7. Okay, so to run the program, either you can run from this end or you can also run from your WinPlotter. Okay, so I will just right now I'll run it here. Let me see if it is not giving any yes. So now you can see it is running, right? So it stopped after 4 cycles. And if you see, you can just zoom this. So you can see your AB parameter is not in agreement, right? So this red is your data, and black is fitting. Okay, so I will just exit this. I will tell, okay, reload is fine. Now I will show the same thing from this WinPlotter. Okay, so what you are supposed to do is you just click here. So it's the same thing as you do it in your this here. Okay, so you run foolproof. If you come here, it says run foolproof. In the same thing, if I go to WinPlotter, there is something called FP. FP is you have to run the Ritwell program. Okay, so I will just go there and I have to select the first PCR file. Then again, it will ask for data. If it is not there, then you can see it is showing the same thing. Okay, it is the same thing what you got, but this will be better. I will tell you why. Okay, so now you can see it has already plotted something called .prf. Okay, this is your fitted foolproof profile. Okay, so now if you see here, you can see you can zoom it very well. Okay, so now you can see the peak position here is somewhere at the calculated peak is around 56.34, but actual peak is slightly to the right, maybe 56.36, something like that. Okay, so now how to do that? So if you go back into your program, either to your foolproof program or into this program, you are running only, you are changing only zero error. Okay, you are not changing the ABC parameter, right? So I think it is changed. Okay. I will put auto 1. So always try to keep this auto 1. It is better practice. Only then it will give better refinement or fittings. Okay. So I will again open it. So this is EDPCR. Okay. So to open the existing PCR, what I do is I have to just click here. I don't have to go to new. Instead, I can click here and I can select the PCR which we have created. So now here what I do is I'll go to refinement and I'll go to profile and I will ask the program to fit ABC values. Okay, previously I fitted only scale factor. Now I am going to fit all the ABC values. I'll keep number of cycles to 10 because I don't want to run for a long time. So just I'm going to save this two, 3 times. It's not a problem. Okay, then I am going to click here. If I click here, you can see this starts decreasing. Your chi-square is going to change a little bit. Okay, so let it run. So if it stop at 10 cycles, you can exit. It will say, okay, you have updated. Yes, fine, you can update. Then you can you can increase the number of cycles, number of iterations. Okay, or you can do just do the same thing 2-3 times. Okay, I will just try to run it. I will change it to 25 cycles. So you can see chi-square is decreasing. So as it is decreasing, that means it is your data fitting is getting better. So in principle, this has to reach something like 3. Okay, so if you reach 3, then it is good fit. Okay, so I am opening the same thing here. You can see as it complete the fitting, it is updating the fit. Okay, yes, I want to update. Okay, fine. So if you go back into your this edit PCR, you can see it is your 0 has changed from 00. It has changed to some values, and also you can see here I started when we started I gave 5.411, right? Now it has put some value here 21 and it has changed the value. That means it has changed the ABC parameter. So now if you go to the peak and if you see this peak, if you see here, the position is good now. Previously this peak was shifted to left. So when I try to fit, what happened? Fit with ABC parameters, it has shifted the peak to the right position. So this means this has done good job in terms of ABC values. Okay. So if you go back to the previous PowerPoint, the peak position will give the information about the lattice parameter. Okay. ABC is directly linked with your 2 theta peak position. Okay, but if you see the fitting, it is still not good, right? This has some error here. So how to get rid of this error? So peak position is fine, but peak shape is not good, right? So to get that, what you have to do is you have to change the instrument parameter. Okay, so now you go back to your refinement. Okay, at the same time, what I'll do, I'll keep this in the left. Okay, so right now you have number only for A, B, C and 0. Okay, code is 1 in the 0. Code for ABC is 2 1 2 1 2 1. If it is a orthorhombic, then what happens? It will be different, 2 1 3 1 4 1. But as A is equal to B is equal to C, we are keeping for everything it is same. Okay, so now what we do is this is fine, the peak position is fine, but I have to change the geometry, right? So how to do that? You go here. Okay, you can click UVW, but as your if we are using Thomson Cox, you can just use X. Okay, you can just click on X. Okay, so right now on just below X it is 0. Okay, so what I will do, I will just click this, check this X, then I will say okay, and I will say okay, then I will save it. Okay, sorry, I'm going to save this. Once I save this, then if I come back here, so you just observe this. Okay, so below X it is 0. If I click here yes, then what happens? It is putting 31. That means it is also going to change this value. Okay, so right now it is 0.081, sorry, 0.0189. So now if I run this program, now what happens? So you see the difference plot. So this difference plot will start becoming very straight line. Okay, it is becoming very straight line. At the same time, your chi-square is decreasing. Okay, so now I will exit this. I will say it is fine, good. And if I go here, if you see, it has changed. Okay, so from 0.01 it has gone to 0.07. And if you go to the fitting, okay, so this is your fitting. If you see the fitting, I will just zoom this. If you see the fitting, it is almost good. Okay, so sometimes what happens, you may not get always chi-square is equal to 1 3 something like that. Okay, the reason is it again depends on the quality of data. Okay, so you can see here there is some tail here. This tail is maybe due to some bad diffractometer. Okay, if there is some fluorescence, then you may not get very good fit. Okay, so in that case, what we do is, this is how you do the fitting, profile fitting. Okay, so let us stop at this point, because I think this itself is sufficient. So if you want, you can again do refinement. Okay, so what I will do, I will run one more time. I'll go to refinement again. So I have changed X. I will also change Y. Okay, I will try to do that. And then I will click this save button, and then I'm going to run it. Let me see if it is decreasing. Oh, I think it's good. It is decreasing a little bit. So, but it is not going anything better than 13.11. Okay, so it is stopping at 13.11. And let me see the fit data. Okay, so to see the fit data, what you do is you can open your wind plotter, and there is something called PRF. PRF is your fitted ritual data. Okay, so if you click on PRF, and you see there is something called as PIC, but this is your PRF file. You click this PRF file. So now you can see this is almost okay. Now, I won't say it is best, but it is almost okay. Okay, so in this case, what I will do is I will stop the profile fitting. So this is how you do the profile fitting. So this, what it gives is, you give this will give the ABC parameter for your sample. Okay, so the standard value was 5.411, but for your sample, the ABC parameter is 5.41218. Okay, so this is how you can see the fitted parameter. Okay, so if this is fine, then I will just go to this, go back to this. Okay. So this is why I explained you all these things. Okay. So Pearson may not work for all the samples, but pseudo wide and void pseudo wide and wide function will work. But and also Thomson Cox is working for all the most of the samples. So always keep one of the peak fitting parameter. Don't try to change too much. Then this is what we already saw, how to get the fitting. So this is your profile fitting. So you can use, when you are free, you can try different peak fitting functions. Okay. So right now we don't want to go too much. So if there is any question, I can take now, right now, before going to Ritval.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, there is few questions in the chat box.
Okay.
Sir, there is a question from Agam Chikara. Sir, okay, sir. He asking for the video. And then there is a question from GP Shijamod. Sir, at first tell in peak shape pseudo verb select. Next time it's change which select.
You should keep constant. Okay. So if you want, see for starting, I would suggest you just go with the Thomson Cox. Okay. For all the fittings, you use, see, in pattern, you go to peak shape. So peak shape here, you use Thomson Cox. Okay. Thomson Cox has thing. This is also a pseudo wide, little bit higher end. Okay. So then you use the same thing in phase. Okay. If you go to phase, contribution to pattern, so use the same peak shape. If you are using Gaussian, for example, in your previous phase, then you should use the same Gaussian here. But Gaussian may not work for all the diffractometer, because your peak shape will be different. Okay, so that is why I try to explain you the peak shapes. Okay, peak shape, if it is very good Gaussian from your X-ray machine, you can go for Gaussian fitting. If it is if it is looking very good like Lorentzian, then you can use Lorentzian function. Okay, but most of the diffractometers, they give some mixed phase or mixed peak shapes. So that is why I am using Thomson Cox. So this will take into account your Gaussian. Okay. So if you go, just go to the next, I think I'll go to next one. Okay. So Thomson Cox is just advanced version of pseudo void. So you can see already it is a function of Lorentzian and Gaussian. If your peaks are purely Gaussian, then it will put n is equal to 0 by default. Okay, by itself it will fix n is equal to 0. So then it will try to fit your peak by using pure Gaussian. If it is pure Lorentzian, then it will put n is equal to 1. Then what happens? Gaussian will be 0. Okay, so that is why I ask you to go for high end peak shape functions. Okay, you can do with Gaussian, you can do with Lorentzian, but again it will be time consuming. Okay, so you may not get good fit at one shot. Okay, so as you are starting, I would prefer to use the high end profile.
Okay, sir. Sir, there is a question from Swadi Shaktivel.
Okay.
What's the difference between structural model and profile matching with a constant scale factor?
The structural model is your Ritval refinement. So when you want to do Ritval refinement, you have to give atomic positions of your elements. But in profile matching, we are not doing fitting of atomic positions. We are just trying to fit the contribution of your instrument. Okay, we are trying to find the ABC and also symmetry, and also we are trying to fit the instrument. Okay, so in the first case, when we did the fitting, we did zero shift. Zero shift means, so as we told, all the instrument may not be 100% calibrated. Okay, there may be some small error with respect to the peak position, that is due to instrument, so that is taken care by zero shift. Okay, if your peaks are shifted very small to very small extent due to some instrument error, this is taken care here, okay, by zero shift. And then what we did fitting of ABC parameters. So this will give the proper what is it ABC parameter. Once we did ABC and 0, our chi-square was still around something like uh, 15 or 18, right? So then what we did is we did fitting of X and Y. X and Y is again coming from the your instrument. Okay, if your instrument is giving Lorentzian or Gaussian, so this is again instrument parameter. So till now we have not touched your atoms, or whatever atoms is there, we have not touched the atom position. We have tried only ABC parameter and instrument parameter. This is your profile fitting. So before going to ritual, you have to do very good profile fitting. Only then you can do good profile, your good ritual fitting. So if I don't have a good profile fitting, that means if I don't take care of the instrument parameters and all these things, I cannot do directly the ritual fitting. So this is a practice. So when you, even if you see the flow chart, okay, so this is the reason I always put flow chart. Okay, so if I want to do ritual, I cannot go directly to ritual. So I cannot go one from directly from one to ritual. I have to do these steps. Okay, so this is like a traditional approach. Okay, so that is why we are still in fitting, profile fitting. Next I'm going to do this ritual. Okay, so is it fine? Can we go to next question, or I can go for the ritual?
Sir, I think it's fine. Can we go to the next question?
Yes, we can go to next question.
Sir, there is a question from Agam Chitkara. Sir, how can we reduce the chi-square value in my sample? Chi-square value is about 5. How we can reduce?
Okay, so chi-square value, I think I will again give you that theory. What is this chi-square? What is this RWP? Okay, so I will explain that again. At least I will try to give you that information. Okay, what is this? Chi-square depends on lot of factors. Okay, it is not just fitting, but also your data. What is the data? Okay, how good is your data? If you don't have very good data, even though you may get very good fittings. So for example, in this case, you can see here your fitting is almost okay. Even your data, it looks very good. But sometimes what happens, you may not be taking into account all the parameters for fitting. Okay, so in this case, you may not get chi-square always close to 1. Okay, so you may stop at around 4 or 5. So anything close to 3 is good. For me, it's good. Okay, so only thing, you always check your fitting curve. So here I will just explain. Okay, so I will just explain one thing. So you have red dots is your experimental data. Okay, and then you have your black data, black line is your fitting from your crystallography fitting. Okay, then these things, whatever you see, these are your reflections. So if I click here, I will see that it is 220 reflection. Okay, so these are your Miller indices, and blue line is the difference. So you should see this blue line should be almost like a straight line. If it is having too much of what is it peaks, that means your fitting is not good. Okay, so right now I think just for demo purpose, I think I'm stopping here. But if I want to improve this, so what you can also do is you go to refinement, you go to profile. There are so many things, UVW, there is asymmetry. Okay, so you can do all these fittings, but you should know why you are doing this. Okay, so to start with, I'm not going in depth in there, because already for some people right now itself, they have a lot of questions. Okay, so this asymmetry, preferred orientation, these things you can do as you go, as you do one or two more examples. Okay, don't try to go right away, because this is not you don't have to do for all the samples, asymmetry or preferred orientation or those things. Okay, so you can improve the fitting, that means you can decrease the chi-square by doing more refinement. That means by changing a lot of parameters here. Okay. Uh, with the caution that when you're doing some refinement, you should know why you are changing that parameter. Okay. So if you don't know the why you are fitting, then that means you're not doing a good refinement. Okay. You can go for next one. Next question.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, there is a question from Ramya UD. Is it possible to change UVWX values? If we get positive V, is it good?
Okay, so when it comes to UVW, again, this is a standard values that you should have positive U, negative V, and then positive W. Okay, and also it depends on what kind of peak shape function you are using. Okay, when I'm using Thomson Cox, I have to just do only XY. I don't have to touch these things. Okay, so if I am doing Pearson or if I'm doing pseudo wide, then I don't have to touch XY. I have to do only UVW, and there will be something called as theta, E theta or something like that. Okay, which is your shape parameter. So I have to play with UVW shape, and then I should get a good peak shape. Okay, but when I'm using the Thomson Cox, better I should play only with X and Y, and whatever function you are using, you should make sure your UVW is always in this form: positive, negative, positive, and all of them should be less than 1. If you are getting U as 2 and then V as -2 and W as 3, your peak fitting may look very good, but there is no physical meaning for it. Okay, so that is the one thing you should take care. You can make this I can make this run with this changing UVW, but I should always make sure this UVW are less than 1. Okay, then U is positive, V is negative, W is positive. So these things you have to keep in mind. Okay, if it is changing something, you may get good what is it, fitting, but still when it comes to the information, you are losing a lot of information. That means in case of your fitting, it is not a good fit. Okay, so those things you have to take care. Okay, next you can go.
Okay. Sir, there is a question from Sapna Shimmer. Is it possible to refine more than one data at the same time?
Yes, we will do that in the afternoon. So I'm going to show you
Okay.
how to fit sorry, what is that, two phases. Okay, so multi-phase, how to
Okay.
fit. So to start with, I just started with a very simple one. Okay, I don't want to get you lost in 2 minutes. Okay, so I think let me just do ritual refinement for this, and then I'm going to stop. Okay, I need some more time for that. Okay, so
Okay.
okay, so I think we are already running out of time. So so once you get this kind of fit, like once you're having some good fit, what you can do is you can go for ritual refinement. Okay, so this is what you are going to do it in the next step, right? Okay, so so this is your next step, ritual refinement. Okay, so what is your ritual refinement? So before doing ritual refinement, you should have crossed all these steps. Okay, either you can go do profile matching or you can do this. Okay, so in ritual refinement, the starting PCR will be your the PCR that you have already done with your profile matching. Okay, so this is the profile matching what we did, right? So this is the PCR that I did for profile matching. So now what I supposed to do is I go to file, I'll save it as with a new name. Okay, so I will put it as CO2 underscore maybe ritwald. Okay, so this is your ritwald. So I will save it as this one with a new name. Then what I will do is I will go to refinement, I will go to profile, I will stop all these things. Like that means I don't have to uh, change this when I am running. Okay, at the same time what I will do, I will stop also the zero fitting. Okay, zero is stopped and everything is stopped, so I'll just save it. Okay, I'm saving this. So if I open the same PCR in a, so if you go back here, you can see here there is something called a CO2 ritwald. Okay, So this I will open it in PDF. Sorry, your uh, notepad. So you, if you go down, you can see previously that 0 was having 1 1. Now it has become 0. Okay, and also x and y had some values. So it has again become 0, right? So either you can keep this or you can stop this. So if it is written as 1 1 or 2 1 or 3 1, that means it is going to change. If I want to stop it, what I'll do is instead of 1 1, I'll put 1 0. Okay, if I put 0, then what it means, it is not going to refine this value. Okay, when it is running, the program is running. Okay, so now I what I will do is I will go back to this. I will save this. Then it should get some. So I will go to pattern. Then what I will do, I will click on the pattern and not the pattern. Okay, so this is fine. I have to go to phase. So in phase, I'll go to phase. So here, what I am supposed to do, I am already done with the profile matching. So I don't want to again do the profile matching. I will change this to your structure model or ritual model. Okay, structural model. Then I will tell okay. I will click the save. Go to phase. Go to change the calculation from profile matching to your structural matching, structural model. You tell okay. You save it. Okay. And if I come back to this notepad, if I update this, then what happens is, so your JBT has become 0. JBT means this is the same thing. So there is something called as IRF. Okay. So for this IRF, what I am supposed to do is, so this I change to structure, and in the symmetry it is fine. Everything is fine. So in contribution, what I do is, so here you can see the intensities or the reflection list. It is written something as HKL intensities from some file. So I have to just change it to automatically generate from the space group. Okay. So I have to change this to this. Then I will say okay, okay, save. So then this IFR will become 0. Okay. So you can see it has become 0. So these are the changes that you have to do when you are doing this, going from phase matching to structural model. Okay. So first thing is phase, go to phase, change this to structure from profile to structural model, go to contribution, change from whatever is there to automatically generated from space group. Okay. So you just click this okay, and then okay, and save it. Okay. So now what happens is, it has now changed it to structural model. Okay. But if I want to do structural model, I have to give the atomic positions. Okay. So now I will go to refinement. I'll go to refinement, and then what I will do is, I will go to there is profile, and then I will do something called a scale. Okay, scale I have to check it. Okay, I have to. Previously it was unchecked. Right now I am going to check it. The reason why I'm checking is, this will give the phase information. Okay, your just I will save it. Okay, I'm going to save it. Okay. So then again, I'm just repeating again. Okay. So in the previous case, we went to instrument and we did 0. 0 was refined. But now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to profile and I'm going to refine the scale. Okay. So this will actually give the information about the phase or the ritual refinement. Okay. So that is why I'm going to click this scale, and I will say okay, and then I will say okay, and then I will save it. Okay. And now you can see here, there is something just below your FM minus 3M, there is something called a scale. This is having 0, but once I say update that file, you can see it is changed to 21. That means it's going to refine during the you're running. When the program is running, this is going to be changing. Okay, so now I need to get information about the my Wyckoff position. Wyckoff position in the sense I need to give information for atoms, right? So you can see right now this has been activated. Atom is activated. Previously it was not activated. Okay, so once I do structural model, this is going to get activated. So if I use only profile, then this atom is not activated. It will be something like this. Okay, it will be in very light gray. So now I have to put the atoms. So where to get the atoms? You have to go back to your zip file. Okay, so what I will do is I can also write something else. Okay, so I will just see if I can get a good zip file for CO2. Okay, so this again it is going back to the same materials project. Okay, uh, so this is one more zip file where you can get more information. So you need actually you don't need to specify all the coordinates. Okay, so you can see here cerium oxide, it is given as 000, then something like this. Okay, in our zip file, if I open my zip file that we got from project X, sorry, middle project, you can see it is giving cerium is in 0, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. This is because it is face centered cubic. So here they have given all the possible things. So as the Sundarshan sir he was explaining, you don't have to give all the things. Okay, you can just give one of the coordinates, which is your 000 coordinates for cerium, and then what happens? Your fm minus 3m will generate all other rest of the coordinates. Okay, you don't have to give all things. Okay, so always you try to give simple one. Okay, same thing for oxygen. Oxygen, it is given as 0, 0.25. So symmetry, multiplicity, xyz. Okay, so you have to read. This is the label. CO2 1 is the label. Type is CE, and then multiplicity is 0. Okay, then XYZ 000. Here in this case it is 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. Then there is occupancy. Occupancy is 1, and last one is BISO. Okay, BISO is some value. Okay, so you have to just give these things. You don't have to give all other information. For example, here in the zip file that we got from our materials project, it is giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 positions. Okay, for oxygen and 4 positions for cerium. You can give, there's nothing wrong, but you don't have to give everything. Okay, there is nothing wrong in putting this. So I can put this all these values. So in principle you can see here this is a common one, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, and 000 is common in both the zip files. Okay, I'm just going to give this. So how to give this? You go back here. Okay, so if I go to profile, I was able to give ABC and all those values. So instead of that, I'll go to atom. Okay, if I go to atom, just a minute, give me a second. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so now if you go here, if I click the atoms, then what happens? You get a new window where you can actually plug in all the details for atoms. Okay, so now it will ask you how many number of atoms. If I use this zip file, I have to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 12 atoms. So here you can give 12 atoms. But what I will do is I will go to this simple one. Okay, I will give this only this information. So I need to give only 2 atoms. So I'll put 2 atoms. So once I put 2 atoms, you can see this is getting activated. Okay, so here it is giving label. Label is you can give any number. Okay, you can give some name. This is CE. But when it comes to type, okay, type means this is a atomic type. So you have to give both in CE. If your cerium is a CE, so both should be in capital. Okay, I cannot put CE, C capital small e, or small c is capital E. Okay, it should be always CE. Okay, only then the program is going to recognize that the atom you are trying to address is cerium. Okay, then the position is first X is 0, then go to next one 0, go to next one 0, go to next one. This is your B ISO. You just start, you can start with the values that is given here. Okay, for cerium it is 0.1279. So I'll just put something like 0.1278 or something like that. Okay, then occupancy is by default you can keep it as 1. Okay, for now it is 1. Then there is one way to do that. I will explain it again. Okay, so then the second one is oxygen. So I have to put oxygen is a label, oxygen is a type, and if you want to toggle, you have to click using your mouse. Okay, don't try to use tab. If you use a tab, then it will go somewhere here. Okay, so always use a you use if I want to go from one to other column, I have to use only I should use the mouse. Okay, I go here, click here, then I plug in. Okay, so next one is 0.25. Again go to click next one 0.25, click here 0.25. Then normally what happens, your oxygen will have less smaller BISO. Okay, 0.077. This is just starting value. You can even put 1 it doesn't matter. Okay, then occupancy is I can just put 1. Okay, right now, sorry, I'll put 1. Okay, so these are the starting points. Then I will say okay. Then I will again okay. I will save it. Okay. So now if I come back to my notepad, this ritual. Okay. So it is asking to update. So if I tell okay, you can see it has put number of items is 2, and it has given these values. Okay. So these are the values which we just plugged in into the into your GUI. Okay. So same thing is going to be added here. So now what you do is you have already plugged in the data. So you can just start doing the refinement. So refinement in the previous case, when we were doing profile matching, we did change the 0. Okay, we were running the 0, but now I'm going to keep it 0. I'm going to stop it. Now I'm going to run the scale. Okay, so now let us see how it looks. Okay, so let us reset this. So let me first start with this. Okay, I will start here, run foolproof program. So I will take the data file is CO2, then just allow it to run. Okay, so some 2 3. Okay, so you can see it is at very high values, but it will come down very fast. Okay, initially it will come down very fast. So it has come to 10 raised to 4. I'll go to exit. I will accept. I will again run it. Okay, so I'm running it for second time. So you can see it has already come to 39. Okay, so now I can exit. I say yes. Okay, so I will just open the fitted data. So for fitted data, I have to go to PRF, and then I will click this. If I take the first one, this will give the profile matching. This is the ritual matching. Okay, so if you see goes closely, if you see it is already fitted well, but there is some mismatch in intensity. Okay, so how to get rid of that, I will tell you. Okay, so you again go back to refinement. So right now you should not refine any of these XY or UVW. Okay, in this case, when you're doing the ritual refinement, these are the parameters that is going to define the instrument. So don't touch these things. You should go only to the atom, and if you see XYZ, these are already in 0.25. 0.25 means it is 1/4. Okay, so you don't have to touch this, because if you touch this, nothing is going to change. Okay, as it is a simple cubic, or as it is a face center cubic, you should not touch this. Instead, you can play with occupancy and BISO. So what I will do, I'll just click on the BISO. I will change the BISO. Try to change the BISO. Then I will save this. So if I go here, if I update, you can see BISO for CO2 has given some number. That means it's going to change. Okay, let us see how it changes. So I again run it. So you can see that chi-square is decreasing. Okay, so it has decreased from up to 14. Okay, so if I go here and if I update, it is giving 0 minus 0 point something. Okay, so if it is very close to 0 point something, it's fine. But if it is coming like -2, -3, then you have to again restart the your refinement. Okay, so this is how you do the refinement for single phase. Okay, so normally you can do this better by doing more refinement. So what I do is I'll go to this atom, then again I'll go to this BISO for your I'm going to change BISO for your oxygen. Okay, so initially I did for cerium, I am going to change for oxygen. So next what I will do is I will go click here and I will run it again. Okay, so again it depends on the quality of data. So right now I don't know why somehow it is not decreasing much, but if you see the fitting, it is almost okay. So if I see this for instance, it is almost okay. So for time being, as this is a beginning thing, I will not load it with too many things. I will stop it here. Okay, so this is how you do the refinement for your this is what we call as retool refinement. But in principle this should not be -2, but okay, for to start with this is fine. Okay, so if you have any some questions, I can take questions now before break. Madam?
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, there is a question. 1 second, sir.
Okay.
Sir, there is a question from Krishna. Does the automatic option OUT1 correct the singular matrix problem?
Automatic option will try to do by itself, but uh, as it is beginning, I don't want to do too many things. Okay, so whatever we are learning, this is very basic ritual. Okay, so if you go for a high advanced level, so you can change so many things. Okay, I don't want to load those things right now, because if I try to load those things, then what happens, it will become too much for you. Okay, so that is why I'm not going to do that. You can allow the automatic to do it. If not, there is option you can also control it. Okay, that we'll see some other time.
Okay, okay, sir. Sir, there is a question from Remya Yudi. If we are doping for cerium, how we can give the atoms in refinement?
Okay, so for example, see, what I will do is okay. So if you're doping for cerium, for example, if you are having something like this, okay. So I will try to write here. Uh, so right now it is CeO2, right? So this is your sample, but you are trying to dope something in. So in place of cerium, you are trying to put something like this. Okay, so cerium 0.18, zirconium, for example, 0.2, and then O2. So this is your doped sample. Okay, so you get the data, and the first thing what you do the same profile matching, all the things. And now when you go for your, I think it's looking very small. Okay, so this is a doped sample. You doped something like 2%. Sorry, this should be okay. You doped 20% of with zirconia, or 10% of zirconia. Okay, so for just for example, I'm writing like this. Okay, so now if you go for a ritual refinement, so what you are supposed to do is you go to this refinement, you go to the atoms. So instead of 2 atoms, you put as 3 atoms. Okay, so 3 atom. What is the third atom? This is your in principle it should be in second one, but okay, fine. Zirconia, capital ZR. So it should have the same coordinates as your cerium, 0.0. Okay, and then 0, then again 0. Again, it should be the same value as your cerium. Okay, so in this case, it is better you can 0.02263, and then what happens here is instead of 1, this will become 0.8. Okay, because you are having some doping, I'll put 0.8 here, and then the rest 0.2 will come here. Okay, so for instance, if you are doing if you are doped 0.9 and then 1, this will become 0.9 and this will become 0.1. Okay, so this is very simple example, so I can write 1 1. Okay, but there is a way to get this occupancy. I will again explain in the afternoon. Okay, so this is how you can do with the refinement. If I want to do, then I can just save this, and if we go here, you will see there will be 3 atoms: cerium, which is 0.8, and zirconium, which is 0.2. Okay, so this is how we can do the refinement for your dope sample. And you can notice already here, you can see 0.2283 is for cerium, 0.02283 is for zirconia, and the code is same 3131, because these are the same sites. We are talking about the same site. Okay, so program is already taking by default, because this is because I put AUT as 1. If I don't put AUT as 1, then it will put something like 51. Okay, so that is the reason I always ask you to do AUT is equal to 1, automatic 1. Okay, so is it fine? So
Okay,
we
okay,
can go
sir.
for okay, we can go for next
Sir,
one.
sir, are you okay?
Yes, fine, fine, fine. We can go for
Okay,
next question.
okay, sir. Sir, there is a question from Joji Kurian and Swati Shaktivel. Sir, what is B ISO? Should it remain always positive, and what does it indicate?
Yes, okay, good. So B ISO is your thermal parameter. Okay, so if you take your cerium oxide, for example, if you take your cerium and oxygen atoms, they are sitting in 000 position, right? But if you give some thermal energy, for example, if you even take room temperature, it is already having 300 Kelvin. Okay, and if you take energy relation, P is equal to RT, and this is already having some energy. So your cerium and oxygen may not be exactly in 000. They may be thermally having some vibrations. Okay, so if you are doing your excited at room temperature, they're already having some very small thermal vibration. So this B ISO term is to do that fitting. Okay, so if you want to do a crystal structure, if you want to solve a crystal structure, normally what they do is they will take your diffraction at very low temperature. So as you cool down the temperature, the T is less, T is very small. In that case, what happens? The vibration of your atoms will be very less. Okay, for example, in CO2, cerium may not be having any vibration because it is a heavy metal, but oxygen and hydrogen, those kind of things which are light, they may have a lot of vibrations. Okay, so in that case, you may have to do fitting of B ISO. So always B ISO is very close to 1, and try it will be always positive for metals. Okay, like elements like heavy elements, but for oxygen and then those things it can change. Okay, it can go negative. And normally what happens is x-rays are not normally not very sensitive to oxygen. Okay, x-rays are very sensitive for I think I will go back to this PowerPoint. Okay, x-rays are they are sensitive, they have good sensitivity with heavy element like cerium, all those things. Okay, the reason is again I should come back to this diagram. Okay, if I come back to this diagram, just Okay, so if you see this oxygen, so it has very small radii, 0.66. Okay, and if you take cerium, it is having 2.04. And if you remember, the wavelength of copper is 1.54. So 1.54 is more sensitive with respect to cerium, but not with respect to oxygen. Okay, so sometimes it is better to keep your BISO fixed for small or small atomic radii, like your 0.66. Okay, or for your lithium, for instance, or for beryllium. And it is advised you never touch BISO for hydrogen and carbon, all these things. Okay, so just for showing some demo, I have given I have changed the BISO for oxygen. But if you have to keep this in mind. Okay, if you're doing your refinement for fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, so for these kind of very small elements, don't do fitting or don't refine the BISO. You keep it with very minimum value like 0.01 or 0.001, something like that. Okay, so this is the meaning of BISO. So it was very good question. So thanks for asking. So next, if you have any
Okay.
questions.
Sir, there is one more question. There's a question from Arun K and Adul SR. Sir, can we change the occupancy of atoms?
Yes, you can change the occupancy of atoms, especially see when you're trying to dope something. For example, you were telling about zirconia ceria, where it is. Okay, so you were trying to dope the zirconia into cerium. Okay, so in some cases, what happens if you are trying to dope some other like C is 4 plus, and if you're trying to dope something like a manganese or cobalt or some nickel, nickel is in 2 plus, right? So in that case, what happens? Your oxygen may not be exactly 2; it may be 1.99. Okay, so in that case, you need to take into account the valence or vacancy which is created. So sometimes, as I told again, oxygen is not very sensitive. So a lot of people, what they do is they will try to uh, uh, refine the nickel or cerium occupancy, because nickel and cerium are very sensitive with respect to your with respect to the X-rays. So you can just refine higher what is that heavy element instead of refining the oxygen. So if you want to do really very good studies with oxygen or some very small elements, then you should go for neutron. So neutron is very sensitive for oxygen and all those things. There you can do neutron diffraction, and then you can do the refinement. Okay, neutron diffraction is the same as X-ray diffraction. Okay, so only thing, the radiation is changing. Okay, okay, madam.
Okay. Okay, sir. Now the questions are over. Sir, if it is possible to explain these portions in more detail in the afternoon.
Yes, I have one more thing. So what I will do is, in the starting, I will try to explain where it is. Okay, this one. So I will try to explain the. So there is the last. This is one. This is one thing which I wanted to cover. Okay. So I will first thing what I do is I will try to explain this how to determine crystallite size, and then this strain. Okay, I will try to explain this crystallite size and strain. Then what I will do, I will again come back and I will explain the Ritwood refinement for multiphase. Okay, so this is what I want to cover. So maybe in the afternoon we will make it as 2 sessions. Okay, uh,
Okay.
because it is necessary to have 2 sessions. One is for 1 hour and one is for 1.5 hours, something like that. Okay, so let us see how it goes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That is, sir, can we wind up the four-hour
Yes, yes.
session?
I think we will stop here because we have to come back again. So we will come back at 2 o'clock or 2:10.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. If it is possible